50 Cent and BMF reportedly pulled up on Charleston White after he made reckless statements about the rap mogul, and while his current condition remains uncertain, one thing is for sure: 50 Cent will make him regret ever speaking out. Charleston White, the self-proclaimed internet provocateur and controversial figure, has always been known for his reckless mouth, but this time, it seems he finally ran into the wrong people. His latest rant targeted none other than Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, a man who built his career on beef, power moves, and an unshakable reputation. White, who thrives on stirring the pot, seemed to have crossed a line he shouldn't have. And now, reports are surfacing that the Black Mafia Family BMF, one of the most notorious street organizations linked to 50 Cent through his hit STARZ series BMF, wasn't about to let it slide. It all started when Charleston White took to social media, going on one of his usual tirades. He's been known to speak recklessly about celebrities, gang culture, and street politics, but his latest target, 50 Cent, was a decision that may go down as one of his biggest mistakes. White went on a verbal assault, making disrespectful claims about 50's past, his affiliations, and even his involvement in the BMF show. While Charleston White often gets away with his bold statements due to his online persona, this time, he underestimated who he was dealing with. 50 Cent, as we all know, isn't one to let disrespect slide. His history in the industry is built on dominance, whether in music, business, or feuds. He's had battles with Ja Rule, The Game, Rick Ross, and even his own former associates. But what sets 50 apart is that he doesn't just retaliate with words. He plays the long game, making sure his enemies feel the consequences in ways they never see coming. Charleston White, however, is no street guy. He openly admits to working with law enforcement, calling the cops on people, and using his platform to stir controversy rather than engage in any real street activity. But even with that in mind, 50 Cent and BMF weren't about to let the disrespect go unchecked. Reports began circulating that a group affiliated with 50 Cent and BMF had tracked White down after his latest outburst. What happened next is still unclear, but sources say that Charleston White found himself in a situation he wasn't ready for. Some reports claim that White was confronted in person, while others suggest that certain individuals made it known that his words had consequences. Witnesses say White looked visibly shaken after the encounter, and while details are murky, one thing remains certain: 50 Cent will make sure he pays for every word he uttered. Charleston White's whole persona is built on shock value. He thrives on stirring up conflict and making outrageous statements to gain views and engagement. But there's a fine line between being an internet troll and playing with real-life figures who have the power and influence to make things happen. 50 Cent, with his deep connections in both entertainment and the streets, isn't the kind of man to take lightly. His affiliations with BMF, his past in the streets, and his calculated approach to revenge make him one of the worst people to go to war with. And let's not forget, 50 doesn't just respond with physical action. His true power lies in his ability to humiliate and destroy reputations. He's a master of the long game, and if Charleston White thought this was just going to be a one-time confrontation, he's got another thing coming. If we look at 50 Cent's history, his enemies don't just lose battles. They lose entire careers. Ja Rule went from being one of the biggest artists of the early 2000s to a punchline. The Game, despite his talent, never fully recovered from his beef with 50. Rick Ross, while still successful, had to navigate years of disrespect and exposure from 50 Cent's relentless attacks. Even Young Buck, a former G-Unit member, was publicly humiliated to the point of financial ruin. So where does this leave Charleston White? The reality is, he may have just picked a fight he can't win. His usual antics, calling the police, playing the victim, and doubling down on controversy, may not work this time. 50 Cent isn't just a rapper. He's a businessman, a media mogul, and someone with real connections. If 50 decides to use his power to dismantle Charleston White, it won't be in an obvious way. It'll be slow, calculated, and devastating. And let's not forget BMF's role in this. 50 Cent's connection to the real-life BMF story through his STARZ series means that his influence extends beyond just music and television. He has direct ties to some of the most well-known figures in street history. If Charleston White thought he could talk recklessly about people with real power, he's in for a harsh reality check. What happens next remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure. Charleston White has officially made an enemy out of one of the most strategic and ruthless figures in hip-hop history. And if history has taught us anything, it's that 50 Cent doesn't just win battles. He destroys